Right now, he has the top 5 position battles that we could look forward to in Oxnard.
Yes, this is courtesy of Blogging the Boys. We love them. And let us know, 877-881-1053. Do you have a position battle that you're keeping your eye on? Okay. So guard's definitely one that I'm interested in. Yeah. They go number 1. It's the battle of Tyler Smith. The entire configuration of the Cowboys starting offensive line
Who's this coming from? I'm sorry?
Blogging the Boys.
Thank you very much.
Revolves around where to play Tyler Smith. Is he best utilized playing left guard with Tyron or someone else playing left tackle, or should he start at left tackle with someone else playing at left guard? I think, Brian, we have felt he should play left tackle. Yeah. But the Cowboys are looking at this, hey, our best 5 if Tyron's healthy. How long will that be? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But it would be Tyron, Tyler at left guard. But yes, where indeed does that to me, it's less about where Tyler plays. It's all about the health of Tyron, and then what's your plan to fall into place after that, and who really is your starting left guard if that were to happen.
If you're in a situation where you feel like that something is going to happen to Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith's going to play left tackle. That will take care of itself. And, is Matt Farniak good enough to play left guard here? That's your next question. Because he's going to be the guy that they're probably going to plug in there and play, for if in fact they have to make a move there. So to me, it's all about how healthy can Tyron Smith stay, because if he stays healthy, then of course you got Tyler Smith, you're gonna be fine. But just know that something's likely going to happen. It seems to happen every year with this guy.
Your chances hinge significantly on Tyron Smith's health, and it's unfortunate they would let it risk on that. But, I think that's probably my biggest one is Tyron versus health. Mm-hmm. Just can we get to week 1? Do whatever it takes, because I think with Tyler and Tyron over there and Steele and Martin with Broaddus, now you have a chance to have like a top 8, top 5 line.
I'm so happy to hear about the whole thing with Steele. Yeah. That's the one that makes me feel a lot better.
And I would feel a lot better if we just knew for sure they're not messing with Steele. He's your right tackle.
I think Steele's the right tackle.
I hope he is.
I don't know how.
Man.
I mean, you clearly, Zach Martin was good, but he is a different player with Terrence Steele playing next to him in the running game.
It's amazing what a difference a year makes. Even this time last year, we're like, we need to launch Terrence Steele. Are we feeling good about him? Now we're praying Terrence Steele's your starting right tackle.
No question.
Come a long way there.
That's my second biggest battle, by the way, Tyron versus his own body. Do you want to know what my first one is?
Yeah.
It's Dak versus throwing to players on the move. Do you think he can pull that off?
Okay, because that's going to be important.
If that does not come together, and I know this isn't a pure camp battle, but you're going to have to revert to the offense that Kellen Moore was running.
I think they're going to revert to the offense they're running with Kellen Moore anyway. I do. The 70% rule, to me, that's going to be Kellen Moore offense. It's that 30% that I keep talking about, that it's screens, it's deceptives, it's running game. There are going to be some things, but I think in the passing game, I don't know how much they're really going to change. Maybe the protections will change a little bit, with the new line coach.
I hope it's a lot.
But my Dak seems completely comfortable running the offense that Kellen Moore ran. Am I right? Am I wrong about that?
Well,
no, you're not. No,
it's pretty much the only offense he knew, right? I mean, Kellen Moore also played under Scott Linehan. I don't know how much.
He's had some really good years with that. Maybe it's just the difference in the play caller.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, hey, listen, we want to keep these concepts for you, but I'm going to call them in a different light or a different way. Set some things up.
The timing in which, absolutely.
I just think we've always had an issue with the route concepts.
I hate the passing game.
That's been a huge annoyance. And so if I would find it hard to believe that Dak is the kind of quarterback with such limitations that he has to have a route tree that consists of just like stop routes and comebacks and stuff. And it's something that if you feel like that is a limitation that your quarterback has, then that's a guy that you probably have to move off of, because these route concepts that we've been seeing for years now have been just so annoying.
Well, and they're not moving off of Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
for sure. They're proving that. I don't think that is an issue for him.
So we hate the route concepts.
They call them spot routes.
Well,
that's what it is.
Well,
it's like, let's get people on. Let's if Jimmy Garoppolo can do it, gosh dang it, Dak can do it. Yes. You can throw to people on the run. You're not 9 years old.
Right.
You're in the damn NFL.
The drags. It's the mesh routes. It's maybe even getting, like they do with Justin Jefferson. Kevin O'Connell did it beautifully. He did it with Cooper Kupp there with the Rams. And that's why, you talked about it earlier, and it's a little bit concerning. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he liked a static offense.
Yeah, static offense.
But you've got to get some
But Mike wanted to push him into movement. And that was one of their bigger
Rodgers just didn't.
disagreements there
and
at the end.
McCarthy saying at the podium, this is the first time we've been able to run our offense. It could be fluff. It could be BS. You could be right about that, Brian. But I don't know. There's something to me that I am hoping we see some differences.
Yeah, I think so. But I really think this Dak thing is huge because the two things that I think a West Coast quarterback needs more than what he's been in is accuracy and timing. And to me, if I'm charting Dak and like, okay, what are the biggest trouble spots that could be better? It's accuracy and timing.
Sure.
And you're so we shall see if this works or if they pull the plug on it. But they need a way to keep the chains moving against better defenses.
Yeah.
The better defenses that can get to him with 4 and it's over. It's over. So we need more misdirection. We need more ways to get guys the ball very early in the play.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very good to experiment with this in training camp to see if they could take 25 or 30% of West Coast principles. But I'm leaning where Brian is. That I don't expect it to be brilliant, and I'll be pleasantly surprised if it is.
I think the one thing is if Dak has shown that he can't throw with accuracy or he can't lead receivers, if he shows those things, then all of a sudden it's going to be, oh, wait a minute. Is this what the offense is? I don't think they want to take him down that path.
No.
I really don't. I think they want him to be as comfortable as possible. I think where you change is how they call the plays. Or when they call the plays, or how do you mix the run in with the pass?
I think there's a ton of it that comes to that for sure.
I think that's where McCarthy is going to be different than Kellen Moore. I don't see this passing game being just drastically different.
I think that's a good point because the tendencies is what they really got stuck in.
No, for sure, but they also have route concept issues, and they're not setting their players up. They're not helping their quarterback to just see there's an open receiver here. Let's not forget their separation percentages are like bottom of the league.
Terrible.
And it's not like they went out and just got great dominant route runner, awesome receivers. You got Brandon Cooks, cool. That's a huge upgrade. Yeah. But it's not like you have bona fide, unbelievable. These guys are getting open no matter what. You need a play caller and a play designer that is helping these guys get open.
Yes.
You have not done that because last year you were 30th in the category that Next Gen talks about of receiver separation. Over the past 4 years with Kellen Moore, the Cowboys averaged 25th in the NFL. That is problematic.
Where do they finish in the ranks of offense of the last 4 years? Where were they final in the offensive ranks?
I think a lot of
in
it's
the
empty
regular
stats
season.
for me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You're making great points over there. You're talking about lack of separation and all that.
Yeah.
But they're a top five offense every year.
Okay, then you should have just ran it back. Then you should have just kept Kellen Moore.
You're a top 5 offense until
cool.
You needed to be great.
But I agree with you. I'm just telling you though. To me, I don't see Mike McCarthy unless Brian Schottenheimer is coming in here in his year of working with defense, and he said, okay, I've been studying all these, and he's stealing some of those concepts. I don't see it. The whole thing. Mike McCarthy was talking about he hated the option routes and things like that, which Dak absolutely loves. He's comfortable throwing the ball with the option routes and stuff like that. But, it's no, we don't need to get rid of the option routes and stuff like that. I don't see Mike McCarthy having that completely come in here and turn over the offense like you want it to be. I don't see him as being that innovative that way.
Okay. Well, that's going to be disappointing. And I think you'll find yourself.
I think he got tired. Well, yeah.
I think we're all going to be annoyed by that.
I don't disagree.
It's a 3rd and 10 comeback across the board.
I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen here. Because like you say, to me,
but they're planning to change. You just don't think they will change, or you think there's no plan to change and this 30%'s been nonsense?
I think the 30% is actually what the running game the running game stuff, maybe how they block in the running game, maybe some of the stuff with talk about the deceptives, the screen games, things like that. That I see changing.
That'll all be welcomed for sure. But I just think, gosh, man, you got to find a way to help your quarterback. You're not helping your quarterback when nobody is able to get open. Well, he's having to fit it into windows all the time because you're just running these trash route concepts.
And thank you. And we're worried about, and yes, does Dak have accuracy issues at times? Sure. But the numbers to that and the reflection of, yes, how good was your offense? To me, it's because of your quarterback. It's not because of the damn play caller. Dak Prescott made Kellen Moore look good.
McCarthy got tired of Kellen Moore. That's what happened. This thing got personal.
I don't think it was just McCarthy.
They got rid of Doug Nussmeier too. That's another guy that Dak was comfortable with.
There's something to be said for comfortability.
I almost dropped the S word right here. But this thing became really personal. This became personal. is what this did.
Well, and it very well may have, but there's also football reasons and merit to why you should have moved off him. Like
Don't disagree.
Ted Wynn is talking about, like, it's a great write-up from months ago. We already talked about this, but the Cowboys finished 25th in wide open percentage, which measures an open target with separation of at least 5 yards when the ball arrives. The Cowboys have finished 28th in open percentage, open target with separation of at least 3 yards when the ball arrives. And the most damning, says Ted Wynn, the Cowboys finished 29th in yards after catch percentage, which is total yards after the catch divided by total receiving yards. In every one of these stats, the Cowboys passing offense is in the bottom 25% of the league. So I think you were fifth in the sport in spite of all these things.
I agree.
And these things need to be changed.
Damn right.
Kellen Moore wasn't terrible, but the route concepts, I would argue,
it was a problem, and we talked about it every week after we watched the All-22. You're forcing your quarterback to have to be perfect and to be accurate all the time, and Dak Prescott is just not going to be able to do that.
I think when you're throwing those comebacks, though, what happens is the DB closes on the receiver, right? And because the DB closes on the receiver, your yards of separation are low and your yak is low, right?
Yeah, which means your offense sucks.
Those wide receivers can't get open. But why did Garrett, Linehan, and Moore all decide to do the same thing there?
Because that's all they ever did. That's who they were.
They all come from the same line.
You can
Kellen Moore played under Linehan.
You give Jason Garrett any players, give him any roster, and he's going to run the same thing. If he had Pat Mahomes here, he'd have been running the same offense. That's just who he was and what he did. Some coaches, very few of them, Dan Quinn is one, understand how to adapt and understand, okay, this is the ingredients I have in terms of players to work with defensively. This is how I will best use them. I think Jason Garrett's running the same offense, whether he's got Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, or Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. I really like that answer. I also wonder if 8 years into Dak's career, they haven't tried other route combinations because they know that's not the strength of their QB.
I don't believe that. I think it's laziness and stubbornness from the coaching staff.
I agree with you, Wolchuk, but if you're right, Dawson, then they should find a way to cut ties with their quarterback. Then if they view him as a quarterback, then only run these 90s route concepts, which I don't even know if it's 90s. There's just bad route concepts.
And I agree. So let's see. They need to make the changes, and if 4 can't do it, then yeah, you do need to move on, and you shouldn't do a contract extension. Very quickly, the other battles, backup running back, of course, under Tony Pollard. Is it Malik Davis? Is it Deuce Vaughn? Ronald Jones? Hunter Lipke? How do these guys look? Jabril Cox versus Devin Harper. Yeah. We talked about that. Linebacker depth there. And then, of course, the kicking battle. Tristan Vizcaino, Brandon Aubrey. We were tracking the kickers all last year during training camp. It looked horrible. They ended up bringing back Brett Maher. And then how does Jalen Tolbert look? And does Simi Fehoko end up unseating him as wide receiver 4?
It's funny, though. Go back and look. They were 4th in points last year. In the previous year to that, they were 1st in points.
They're getting them points. They sure are.